Hi and welcome to another tutorial. In today's lesson we'll learn how to recreate this cool looking glowing outline effect using Adobe After Effects. So anyways guys, let's jump in. So the first thing that we have to do here is we have to generate our content. Now I'm just using Adobe Firefly for this, so I've just searched up a portrait of a futuristic Asian man in a beanie, hat and glasses, apocalyptic. I did change some of the settings and styles here. I picked digital art, I changed the color and tone to vibrant color, lighting to studio lighting and composition to blurry background. Once you're happy with your picture, then all you have to do is download it. Now I've chosen this picture because the glasses are easy to mask out. If you go for something a little bit more intricate, then it means the masking might be a little bit more difficult. So once you're happy, we'll take this image to Photoshop. So here we are in Photoshop and I've just put the image inside of a new document, and I'm just gonna make sure that I scale it up to fit the entire size. Before we do anything, we have to rasterize this layer, so make sure you right click and press rasterize. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grab the rectangular marquee tool and I'm just gonna draw a box here and then go to edit content aware fill. And then I'm just gonna press apply, make sure you output to the current layer, press OK. Now the next thing that we need to do is we need to separate the head from the background. And so there's many ways to do this, but the easiest one is to just get the object selection tool. You click on the head over there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna press Command J and that will output that setting to a new layer. So now what we need to do is we need to delete it from the background layer. So I'm just gonna hold Command and press inside of that window to select that layer. Then I'm gonna go back to my original image and then just press delete. So now you can see we have a cutout of this from the background. So now what we need to do is we just need to fill up this gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the lasso tool and then just roughly just draw around this image just like that. And then all you have to do is go to edit, content aware fill, and then play around with some of the settings until it's as you like. Now again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but once you're happy with the output to the current layer, press OK, apply, and there we have a blended background. Now we're gonna animate this anyways in After Effects, so we're gonna, muck it around. But anyways, that looks pretty cool. Now all we have to do is just export these layers individually, one as the background and one as the head. So here we are in After Effects, and the first thing that we need to do is we need to create a new composition. So I'm just gonna go for a 1920 by 1080 pixel document, 30 FPS, at a duration of about 10 to 15 seconds. Press OK. The next thing that we need to do is we need to import our assets. So just right click, go file import, and then once you have that, just drag them to your timeline. So now you can obviously see that the scale needs to be adjusted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press S for scale and then just put them back to the right size for that composition. So now I have the head as one layer and the background as another layer, and now what we can do is we can start to use a mask to cut out the glasses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I'm on the head layer, and I'm just going to zoom in until I get a pretty decent view of the glasses. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the pen tool and I'm going to draw a mask around the lens. Now it doesn't have to be perfect, but when I go into my mask settings over here, if I just change the feather to about 10, it softens those edges. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click this inverted button for a second just so I can draw the other mask over here, and then we'll both change them to add. So once you're happy with your mask, again, we're going to do the same thing for mask 2. We are just going to increase the feather to 10, and then we are going to take off the inverted. So now what we have is we have two lenses over here with the eyes showing, and that's exactly what we need. So once we have that, what we need to do is we need to go to layer, pre-compose, and we're just going to call this lenses. And I'm just going to leave all attributes in comp 1. So now I have a pre-comp with those two lenses on here, and I'm just going to put the head back down in there just so it fits. and I'm just gonna press S for scale, put it back down to 50% so everything goes back to normal. But now we have this lenses over here which we are going to apply the glint to. So to do this, it's quite easy. All we have to do is search for an effect called CC LightSweep, and you can see what's happening here. It's only affecting the mask area over here. So we're gonna change some of the settings. We're gonna change the width to, let's say, 160. Bring it up a bit. We're gonna change the intensity to about 57. We're gonna change the edge intensity. Also, yeah, probably, maybe we'll leave it about 50. And we will also animate this as well. So to animate this, all we have to do is just click on the stopwatch for center, and I'm just gonna move it over until it is off the glasses. So just like that. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move forward in time to probably about 1 second, and then just have that go over and sweep to the other side. And so now if I press U to bring up my keyframes, what I can do is I can go to Animation Assistant, Easy Ease, and Easy Ease those keyframes. So now I have a glint that's, going across the glasses. And what I can do is I can go to the graph editor and I can just make sure that we have a little bit more acceleration. So it looks something like that, and that looks pretty cool. And then what we are going to do is we are going to hold Option and click on that center stopwatch as well. And I'm just gonna write loop out, and then I'm gonna write ping pong. And so now if you've done that correctly, now you will see that glint will go back and forward for the duration of that composition. So that looks pretty good. So now the next thing that we need to do is we need to work on the background. So because it's already, a bit blurred, all we have to do is just, search for an effect which is called turbulent displace. And this effect will pretty much warp the background and do some crazy stuff with it. I'm just gonna increase the amount to, let's say 100, and maybe the size to about 110. And then I'm gonna hold Option and hit the stopwatch for that evolution. I'm gonna write time times, let's say 50. And now if you've done that, now you will have like a warping background. So the other thing that we can add here is if we look up some blur, and we can add some fast box blur to this. So maybe just increase that to maybe, I don't know, something like 10. It just separates the background from the head as well. So that's looking pretty cool. The other thing that we can do for the background as well is we can also put on some curves, and we can change how dark or how light the background is going to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop it down a little bit, just like that. And then the final effect on here is going to be a vignette as well. So there's an effect called CC vignette. And what we can do is we can play around with how much vignette we want. So I'm just going to maybe put that to, let's say 40, something like that. So now we have this cool distorted background going with the glint on the sunglasses, and that's looking pretty cool. So the other thing that we can do is we can add a new adjustment layer, and I'm just going to put it on top of everything. And on the adjustment layer, what we are going to do is we are going to search for an effect which is called noise. I'm going to bump that up to, let's say, about 8%. And so that brings it all together. And the other thing that we're going to add on this adjustment layer is we are going to search for another free plugin from Video Copilot, which is called Color Vibrance. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to Color Hunt, and this was my color scheme here. I'm just going to grab this pink color and then just put it into here. Now, obviously that's way too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring down the vibrance a bit. So now we've got that cool kind of neon look as well. And also what we can do is on the lens as well, we can also add some VC color vibrance as well. So now you've got a cool, unique look just for those masks in there. Now I'm not happy with that color. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to search for another color in my color scheme from Color Hunt. And then I'm just going to put that in there. And I'm just going to lower that a bit. So maybe 0.7, something like that. So now that's looking pretty cool because we've really separated the lens from the character. Now, if you've got up to this far, like that's pretty much it for this tutorial. The only other thing that I did is a scale in composition, and I'll show you how to do that at the end. But if you do have access to some of the Red Giant plugins, there is this pretty cool Red Giant plugin which is called Ecto, and this enabled me to create the glow on the outside. So all I did is I went back to color hunt, and I just chose the colors, you know, from here. So I'm going to pick this pink, and I'm also going to pick this color here. Now, obviously, you can play around with some of the settings here. You know, for example, if you bring down the size, you know, it really brings down that glow. Or if you want to change the glow intensity, you know, put it down to like, you know, 0.7, something like that. So it's totally up to you. And what that does is it just creates a nice outline on the actual subject. So the final thing that we can do here is just a quick scaling animation. Now there's many ways to do this, but a quick way is to just highlight everything, go to layer, pre-compose, make sure you move all attributes in there, just press S for scale, hit the stopwatch, move to the end of the composition, and then just bump it up to, let's say, 110. And so now you have this cool scaling effect as the animation plays. So anyways guys, that's it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching this short tutorial on how to create a sunglass glint and a glowing outline on your character. I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.